Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. Kimberly and Angel lost their 10-year-old daughter, Amerie, in the tragic Uvalde school shooting.
She'll never know I was trying so hard to get in there.
The friend who tried to save her.
She said he shot my best friend.
She said she was laying there, not breathing, so she hugged her.
While saving herself. She smeared blood on her to make it look like she had been shot. A Dr. Phil exclusive. You kiss your child goodbye in the morning, never imagining it would be the last time you saw them alive. Like in the case of an accident or a tragic school shooting. As a parent, you would do anything to protect your child from harm. But what if you had absolutely no control over the course of events that led to the unthinkable? Dark thoughts and questions of what if often haunt surviving victims and the parents of those who tragically died. They replay things over and over, obsessing about whether there was anything they could have done differently to change the outcome. Well, today, two families with very different outcomes after one horrific tragedy. They're here. Because on May 24th, 2022, the unthinkable did happen in Uvalde, Texas, when a heavily armed 18-year-old gunman opened fire on Robb Elementary School and took the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers. You all heard about it. You all watched it unfold. Although the gunman is no longer alive, his victims, their families, and the community will never be the same.
We come on the air tonight after another mass shooting in America.
According to police, just after recess is when it happened. Peach slices, ham sandwiches waiting on the school lunch menu.
The anguished cries of desperate parents after the massacre at Robb Elementary. Pleading with police to rescue their children. An elite Border Patrol team moving behind a shield entered the classroom and killed the suspect.
Authorities tonight confirming that the gunman was in the elementary school for an hour or more before he was shot and killed.
Angel Garza's daughter, Amerie, was just 2 weeks past her 10th birthday when he walked this path on Tuesday, dropping her off at school for what turned out to be the very last time.
She was the sweetest thing. She just got an award for being the most creative. She didn't deserve that.
No.
She didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
I just want to protect my little girl.
Well, joining me are Kimberly and Angel. Their precious 10-year-old daughter, Amerie, was one of the 21 victims whose life was taken that day. I thank both of you for being here. One thing you won't hear me say today is that I know how you feel, because there's no way anybody can know how you feel. True? This has got to be just absolutely horrific for both of you. And Kimberly, you were with your daughter just an hour before this horrible tragedy took place. Can you tell me about that morning?
We got up in the morning, all of us, and it was routine to get dressed, and that day was the day of her ceremony. So I ended up doing her hair and putting her a really nice outfit, and then gave her a kiss and a hug, and Angel usually takes her to school in the morning, and I take my son to daycare. So he went, dropped her off. I got dressed because her awards were going to be at around 10:30 that morning. So I told her that I would see her there. So I got dressed. I got in my car, went to her school, walked in the cafeteria, sat down. I got there. I met my parents there because they were also there. and we had flowers and candy for her. Sorry. So, thank you. So they ended up calling her name, giving her her certificate. It was the A and B honor roll certificate. And so once it was done, she walked towards us. I gave her a hug and a kiss. And she gave my mom a hug and a kiss as well. We gave her the flowers and the candy, one of her favorite candies. And so I took that photo with her. And then my parents took a photo with her. And they had a stand like where the kids could take photos, and I wanted to take a photo with her there. And she's like, no. She's like, these are fine. So I said, okay, baby. So I told her that I would take her to Starbucks after I picked her up from school. And I hugged her and I kissed her on the forehead. And I walked out of the cafeteria with her. And she went to the left and I went to the right.
And that was the last time you saw her alive. How happy was she in that moment?
Very, because she was already, the school year was about to be finished.
That she was skipping down the hall, right? She was that happy. And Angel, you dropped her off that morning, and she was excited about what was going to happen because she was winning an award and all of that, right?
She was a little upset at me that morning because she had a sweet tea in the fridge that I snuck in and drank a little bit the night before, and she was so upset the next morning because she was going to take it to school. But we had a tradition. I would take her to school, and we'd listen to music, and we'd blast the music. But as soon as we got close enough, like, she made sure to turn it all the way down. She was super embarrassed, and I told her I'd pick her up after, and we'd go to practice, and she said, okay, Daddy.
But you didn't pick her up because of what happened. And let me just ask you too, because I want to know what you say to yourselves. Do you two feel like you failed her?
I do.
Yes.
What do you say to yourselves about that?
It's hard. I mean, everybody's saying, you know, it's not your fault. It's just you couldn't have known. Nothing you could have done.
I feel like as her mom, I should have.
As her parents, we should have.
I should have known. Maybe I could have taken her home instead of leaving her there. I think I'm really hard on myself when it comes to that day because I was right there and I walked off and I feel like I left her there and I shouldn't have.
And why do you tell yourself that you shouldn't have? What was your cue to not leave her there? She was skipping down the hall. Why would you have deprived her of that fun, wonderful day? What would have been your reason to do that?
I feel like she could have been here.
Well, I mean, you know that now, but I'm saying at the time, was there a cue you missed? Was there a red flag you didn't see?
No.
Angel? When you play it back through in your mind, when you drove into the school to drop her off that day, when you look back, is there something you missed? Is there something you didn't see that that you should have seen?
I feel that way. I mean, just as her father, I feel like it's my job to protect her.
You said a girl came out that actually looked like she had been dipped in blood.
She said, "They shot my best friend. She's not breathing anymore." What was the girl's name? She said Amory. That's when the moment became real.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. It is the #1 issue on everyone's mind. Things you can do to make ends meet. Fighting inflation.
I tell you what's on sale. I tell you what coupon to use and how much you're going to pay.
From couponing, you say that you save $6,000 the first year.
It's actually $10,000.
And in fact, when the first gunshots were fired, you heard them at home.
Yes.
And first a few, then some more. And it was close enough that you actually got down on the floor, right?
Yes.
You thought there were gunshots being fired.
Yes.
Did you think they were coming from the school, or did you think they were coming from somewhere? What did you think when you...
I didn't think they were... I know that they were coming... I felt like they were coming towards my home. Not the first one or two that I heard at the very beginning. I kind of just, because I was making coffee when I got home, so that I work from home so that I can start work. And I just kind of turned my head and really didn't think anything of it. Then I heard more. And so that day was a little bit of a blur. But I do remember when I heard multiple, they were very, very close. At the front of my home. So I just remember just going down, and I was starting to panic and freak out. I didn't know what was going on then.
And how did you hear about it, Angel?
I was in the room with the patient, and my supervisor actually went in, and she told me to come out because my mom was calling me. My mom works in medical records, so we work at the same place. And she came out and she just said that Kim called her and there's something going on at the school. So we just ran in my car, went to the school. We got there, and I mean, we were there before most of the police officers that were there. They were really trying to de-escalate all the parents, the situation, and trying to just get their mind on at ease, put their mind at ease, if you want to put it that way, because they were telling us that it's a barricaded situation, that nobody's shooting, that everything's okay, they got it under control.
And you now know that it was anything but under control, of course. And you said at one point a girl came out that actually looked like she had been dipped in a pool of blood.
Right. So once some more police got there, they started to tape off the area, and they backed us up, and we're just waiting, and finally, they started letting kids out, and one girl came out, and she had a bloody nose, and still, I don't think the situation was that real to everyone. And then Chloe came out, and yeah, it looked like she was just sitting in a pool of blood. I mean, she had clotted blood in her hair. She looked like she was injured, so I ran over to her and asked her if she was...
Because you're trained in this.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. So I ran over to her and I asked her, what's wrong? Did you get hit? Did you get shot? Is everything okay? And she was just so hysterical. And she said, I'm fine. They shot my best friend. She's not breathing anymore. And so once I figured out she was okay, I had her get on the bus, and I don't know what made me go back and ask her, but I just went back and asked her, what was the girl's name? And she said Amory. And when she said Amory is kind of when I lost it. That was the video that shows, you know, me trying to get through the police and everything. I was ultimately put in handcuffs for a little bit. That's when the moment became real.
So she said, my best friend was shot and killed, and you didn't know that her best friend was your daughter.
Yeah, because Chloe's she's relatively new to the town.
Just a few months.
Yeah,
right?
She had only been there a few months. And I was telling Kim.
Talk about her.
Yeah, Amory would talk about her, and I was telling Kim that she looked very familiar. Like, we might have saw her at like a luncheon that we went to or something. But yeah, she said it was Amory.
And you went back and asked her, and in the moment she spoke that name, your world changed forever.
I lost it, like, completely. Like, never felt that way before in my life.
I don't think we've ever been so lost. I've never been so lost in my entire life. Because it was so chaotic. There was people walking, running everywhere. People crying, freaking out. Some kids still missing.
Well, I'm sure at this point, you look back and there's that part of your life before that day. And then there's that blur of that day. And then it probably seems like one long and terminal day since that time where you just are numb and just keep putting one foot in front of the other at this point. This kind of tragedy leaves an indelible mark on the lives of those left behind, and it can tragically bond people forever. I want to add some parents after this, Jamie and Reuben. It's their daughter, Chloe, that came out soaked in blood, who was holding hands with Angel and Kimberly's daughter just moments before her death. She's the little girl that spoke the name that changed Angel's life forever on that bus. When you talked to her, was she coherent?
She didn't even really remember her name or anything.
What did she say to you?
She said, Mom, I was in a school shooting.
It's in a small town. Nobody expects anything bad to happen, and then it happens, and everybody wants to make changes to prevent it from happening, and then it dies down a little bit, and then it happens again, and then it's a cycle. I just want my baby home. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about nothing at all. I'm so sorry.
There is no handbook on how to face the grief, the anger, the sadness of losing a child to such a senseless and cruel act of violence. In fact, we know psychologically it is the number one stressor that you can face in your life, losing a child suddenly and violently. And there is nothing else that compares to it. It's been 4 long months since grieving parents, Kimberly and Angel, lost their 10-year-old daughter, Amory, in the tragic Uvalde school shooting. Now, they say each day without her just seems to get harder and harder. The emptiness, the void, the loneliness just seems to just get worse and worse. Now, Jamie and Reuben's daughter, Chloe, was with Amory that fatal day in classroom 112 of Robb Elementary School. Thank you both for being here and talking about this. It's things we learn from parents like you that help us decipher and figure things out going forward. And I know that this had to be terribly traumatic for the two of you as well. It took a long time for all of this to unfold. When was the first time you were able to speak to your daughter after this happened?
I didn't speak to her. I didn't speak to her until I got to the hospital, which was 4 hours later. I was at work. I was 3 hours away from work, and she had gone to the ER. And my sister-in-law was the one that responded to the hospital. She was able to go and look for our daughter at that time. We thought she was going to be at the Civic Center, but she ended up going to the ER.
And she, in fact, had some shrapnel. When she got to the ER, she had some shrapnel in, her forehead and her leg?
Yes, her right forehead and at the top, and then her left thigh.
And when you talked to her, was she coherent?
It took her a little while. She didn't even really remember her name or anything then, so.
What did she say to you?
Oh, I was driving from Oklahoma down here. Mm-hmm. When I talked to her on the phone, she said, "Mom, I was in a school shooting. Hurry up and get here."
You say the first thing that she told you, Ruben, was that she didn't freeze up.
Freeze up, yes.
What did she mean by that?
Well, you know, this is not the first shooting that's happened in our nation. So me being a prior Marine, when things like this happen, I speak to my kids on certain situations on, you know, what they can do to help themselves out during that situation. And she was younger at that time whenever we would talk. I mean, 8, 9 years old, you know, and that's, you know, a perfect response for an 8-year-old, you know, that she would freeze up, you know, at that moment. And, you know, just to recollect those scenarios that we went through when I first seen her, that's, you know, says she didn't freeze up. And that was just, to me, like, you know, that's, and I know it's a horrible tragedy that happened, but, you know, she was, you know, thinking what can she do to survive, you know, the situation she was put in. Mm-hmm. So that was just, you know, I mean, heartbreaking to hear from her end, but also, you know, from a tactical standpoint, like that's what you want out of somebody, not to freeze up, you know.
She says that it's her fault. She shouldn't let her hand go.
She went to check on her.
She said she was laying there, not breathing, so she hugged her.
This isn't fiction. It's real. 2 men who say they were victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. The difference is they survived.
I was drugged and raped by Jeffrey. Technically, I'm supposed to be his second victim.
You had your hands broken, foot broken, feared for your life.
I cannot understand why anyone would want to glamorize that guy. That's sick.
You felt the presence of evil when you were with him.
I was face to face with Satan himself.
Plus, a never-before-seen interview with Jeffrey Dahmer's father.
Do you think there were warning signs?
There definitely were warning signs that I missed, but I didn't believe it.
Tell me about the locked wooden box.
If I would have opened that box and found what was in there, I think I would have lost it.
But we now know the box contained a human head.
Starting Tuesday. Closed captioning provided by... It was amazing to me how resourceful these young girls were, because that's what Amory was trying to do. She was going to get to a phone to get help and make a phone call. That's what y'all understood happened, right?
Whenever they had all the kids get into their hiding spots, Chloe had her by the hand, and Chloe wanted her to come with her, said it's safe over here. But Amory wanted to get to a phone so she could call for help.
Right. And that's when she was actually shot, correct? When she was trying to get to a phone to get help for everyone?
That's what Chloe said.
Yeah. What did she say about that?
She said that one of the girls in there told Amory, come over here, here's a phone. Chloe said she squeezed her hand tighter to pull her back and said, no, I feel like it's safer over here. And Amory said, what if we can call for help? So Chloe said that the other girl, I think, had pulled her towards her, so she slipped out of Chloe's hand. And she said that's when the shooter came in and hurt him.
Mm-hmm. And what does Chloe say about that? Because I understand that, there's people blame themselves for this so much. Does she feel bad about letting go of her hand?
Absolutely.
What does she say about it?
That's the survivor's guilt part. Amory, pulled away, tried to go get help. And that's, the part that she keeps thinking about, herself. Like, I should have not asked her to stay with me. I should have just gone with them, stay together, her and the other girl.
She says that it's her fault. She shouldn't have let her hand go. And she calls herself names. Like, I'm stupid for doing that, and it's hard for her.
She went to check on her later, right?
Yes.
And what did she find?
She said she was laying there, not breathing, so she hugged her and went back to her same spot. So if he came in, he wouldn't see that she had moved.
Mm-hmm. And what did she do when she got back to her spot?
She said she just laid there.
Continue to play dead.
And she smeared a little more blood on her. And just laid there.
She smeared blood on her to make it look like she had been shot?
Yeah.
She had called 911. She was on the phone with the operator for 18 minutes, the first call. Had hung up because she had heard the shooter walking back. The music that he was playing was getting louder and closer towards, where classroom 112. So she had hung up. He came in the room. He went back to room 111, and she called back again. And this time was on the phone with the dispatch for 28 minutes. So a total of 46 minutes. She was on that phone, and they did absolutely nothing.
So she heard the music he was playing get louder, so she knew he was coming?
Yes, she knew she was coming.
Was he speaking also? Was he saying something she could hear?
Yes.
What was he saying?
He was telling them, you all will die. And was acting like the police.
That's just absolutely horrible and inconceivable.
All those kids were probably just thinking, where are my parents? Where's my help? She'll never know I was trying so hard to get in there.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. It is the #1 issue on everyone's mind. Things you can do to make ends meet. Fighting inflation.
I tell you what's on sale. I tell you where couponing is and how much you're going to pay.
From couponing, you say that you save $6,000 the first year.
It's actually $10,000.
To cutting consumer costs. How much does this cut down on what you spend?
It probably saves my family about $2,000 to $3,000 a year.
That's Monday. Closed captioning provided by What do y'all think about when you know that in these most horrible of situations that these little girls to the very end were, working the problem, that Amory was trying to get help for everyone and for herself, and that they were working together. And I mean, you must be really proud that she was doing what she could do.
We just wish somebody helped her.
77 minutes passed from the beginning until the end. And if 40 minutes on the phone with a dispatcher, with children saying, help us. I mean, he's here, he's shooting people, and no one comes when children are pleading for help. What do you say to yourself about that?
I think that really makes it harder. Because all those kids were probably just thinking, where are my parents? Where's my help? She'll never know I was trying so hard to get in there.
There are so many dads out there trying to get inside of that building. So many people trying to get in there. And I felt like they tried so hard to keep us out instead of worrying about what was inside.
And they actually put you in handcuffs to keep you from going in. It's just,
yeah. Once Chloe came out, and I talked to Chloe, the situation just became so real, and I don't know, the dad just kicked in, and I just felt like she needed me, and I just wanted to be there and hold her.
And there are things that I know that you play over and over in your head, that you play what if, and why didn't I this, and why didn't I that, and before we're done, I really want to talk to you about that. I'm the last person in the world that's going to try and talk you out of this anger. There's going to be a point in your life where you make a choice about how you're going to live with this. This will never go away. I'm not going to lie to you and say you'll get over this. You won't get over this. You will never get over this. If you live to be 100 years old, you will never get over this. You will get through it. You will find a way that her memory will not bring you pain. It will bring you peace. It will coexist in parallel with what you choose to live in your life. And right now, the only way you'll get rid of anger is through forgiveness, and you're not at that point yet, nor should you be. There has to be accountability here. There has to be some justice in this. But there are some things that you can do to help this process along. You're actually writing tweets. You're actually writing tweets, which is a great way of journaling. And I think they honor A. Marie a lot. I looked at some of your tweets that I thought honor her really well, and I wondered if you might read a few of them that you've written.
May 25th. My sweet girl, Mom can't sleep without you. I love you and I miss you. Please come back.
How do I do life without you? July 19th, I'm sorry. Laying here knowing I will never get to see my daughter again kills me. But knowing my daughter was taken from me in such an evil way keeps me up at night, every night. I can't stop telling her how sorry I am for leaving her at that school. September 1st. The fact that I wasn't there to protect her kills me so much. I wish it was me. I wish I was in that class. And I wish it was me. I get asked a lot if my son is going to school this year. How am I supposed to get my son ready, drop him off at school, and just leave him there? I did that with my daughter, and now I will never see her again. There's no way.
Did you know that she was writing these things?
Yes, sir.
I hope you continue. I hope it's cathartic for you to write things, but I hope you I hope you don't continue to say, "How could I?" Because you did what you needed to do when you needed to do it, and nobody has a crystal ball. Were you a loving mother?
Yes.
With Amerie? Did she feel loved?
Yes.
Did she know that you loved her? Did she know that you loved her?
Yes, sir.
Every minute she knew that you two loved her. You did your job. And evil struck a terrible blow. 11-year-old Chloe obviously is a remarkable young woman, just as Amerie. And she is here and says she wants to share with the world just how special her best friend Amerie was. We're going to meet her after the break.